Hey guys, it's Ryan with My Listing Club. In this video, I'm going to show you how to host your website locally on your workstation, which has a number of benefits, whether it's just being able to work remotely from your workstation, being able to reduce those hosting costs while you build out your website. Let's say that you need to take down your live website, but you need to retain a copy of it and possibly even reference that downloaded website as you go forward. So there's tons of benefits to doing what I'm about to show you. This specifically came about. I had an existing client that literally, I'm going to read you verbatim the question that came from them just this morning. They've got a few websites hosted with me on Keensta, and they basically have one that they're looking to take down because we rebuilt one of their sites. So the backup, the old site no longer needs to stick around. So yeah, so this is just directly from them, exactly the question that they asked me, and that's what spurred this video. And the guide was actually already written, but it was written quite some time ago. A lot has changed with the exact steps to use the particular software I'm going to show you. And it's free, 100% free software to use, really, really powerful stuff. But yeah, so I ended up just spending the morning completely rewriting the guide, and then of course doing this video now. But this was the question from the client. Can you please tell me what will be the best way to delete the old site, but keep it somewhere where I can have access anytime I need to find old information? So there you go. So that is what spurred this, and that's one of the things that we're going to look at in this video and in the guide. Okay, so from the My Listing Club website, you can go up under Menu, Resources, filter by Guides, and just do a search for local here. And we're looking for the guide, Host WordPress Websites Offline with Local. Local is the name of the software we're using. It has had a history of changing names. It was Local by Flywheel because Flywheel Hosting owned it, created it. Then it became Local Lightning, and then now it's back to being just called Local. Okay, yeah. So this is the exact guide that we're gonna use in this video. Yeah. So as I said, this guide will teach you how to host and build a WordPress website on your local workstation. Hosting and building offline has many benefits, such as not paying for additional hosting, keeping your staging environment as a true production clone, or maybe you just want to work from the beach. You know, there's just lots of reasons. Okay. And then I read off the reason that this particular client wanted to do this. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move this to my other screen. And the very first step is to visit the local website. So I've got that pulled up on my screen here. Click download. So a big download button here. Just go ahead and click that. We're going to choose the platform. So I'm on Microsoft Windows, so I'm just going to go ahead and choose that. You don't need to put a first name and a last name in there. You could put a bogus work email in there if you want. It doesn't really matter. So I'll just put Ryan at My Listing Club in there for now. And that's it. And click Get It Now. We see this is downloaded here, downloading here in the lower left of my screen. We're going to go ahead and click on that downloaded file. It seems to be opening up here. I'm going to go ahead and close this local website. Okay, let's just wait for this to pop up here. I assume it's still running. Normally it just pops right up. I'm going to go ahead and run it again just to be sure. There we go. I don't know what happened there. A little hiccup. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and click Next here. Next to install, or click Install. Okay, go ahead and click finish here. We'll accept the terms and agree. I'm going to choose to not turn on error reporting. If you want to send error reports back to the local developers, then you can do that. I'm just going to say no thanks here. I'm just going to say no thanks to enabling usage reporting. Okay, and from here you can go ahead and just click this X to get past this screen. And I'm going to go ahead and maximize this. Okay, so we've done all that. We've clicked the X. So now under optimal settings, so we want to go to, I'm going to click on this hamburger menu up here in the top left, and we're going to choose preferences. And the only one we're going to worry about here for this video and in the guide is to turn off Magic Sync. If you have a website where you're syncing between an online website and a local website, then that's when you might want, you'll want to turn that on and work with that. I definitely would recommend you look through these settings and just see what's in there, see if there's anything that piques your interest. For example, maybe you want to turn on dark mode. Okay, there's a lot of other stuff in there, but just go ahead and poke through those screens and see if there's anything that piques your interest. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and turn off Magic Sync, and we're going to click the apply button here. Okay, so that's it for the optimal settings. Now we're going to go ahead and set up our site. And the first environment we're going to set up is called the preferred environment. This is assuming that you are never going to bring this website online into like a web host, or you're likely not going to. And the reason for that is because what you set here could be set in stone, especially as far as the database technology. So for example, if you set MySQL here versus MariaDB, or the other way around, if the host that you in the future may move this local website to doesn't have that, then you're out of luck. Okay. So like hosts like my preferred web host, Kinsta, they only offer MariaDB because that's a superior technology to MySQL. So if you built locally under MySQL, porting that website over to Kinsta is likely not possible. Now, there may be some people out there that know of a way to convert a database successfully. That's a little bit scary for me personally, but yeah, so it's better just to do it as I'm about to show you here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and close down the preferences here. Actually, we can just go do this. So we're going to go up under the menu, the hamburger menu again, and we're going to say add new site. So you can see that here, add new site. We're just going to click continue here to add a new site. We'll give it a name, call it MyListing, and click continue. So here's that preferred environment that I was telling you about. We'll set up a custom environment next, okay? So we're just gonna do preferred. These are the default settings that they are going to give you, okay? So you see how it's MySQL. While PHP can be changed, the version, and the web server version can be changed later, this cannot. MySQL cannot be changed later, okay? So we're gonna click continue here. I'm just gonna go ahead and put some credentials in here. Put a valid email address in here in case I want to get alerts and stuff like that. And nothing under advanced options. We're not setting up a multi-site, which, as you can tell, you could do that if you wanted. Okay, so we're going to click add site here. If you see any pop-ups like this, you're going to go ahead and allow access. I've only ever installed this on Windows machines, so I'm not sure how it's going to look on a Mac, but I could test that someday. Okay, so we're just going to let that spin up there. Usually goes pretty fast. Okay, so we got our site is ready to go just that fast. The first thing we want to do is click under SSL, we want to click trust here. So that just bypasses the security warning that you would get every time you visited the site otherwise. Okay, so We're saying that we're trusting the site. Now we're going to click on WP admin here to get into the website as you're used to. So this is just like any other website. Okay, so there is our freshly spun up website. Just that easy. And that's under the preferred environment. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this down. We're going to set up a custom environment. Okay, so I'm going to stop this site. You don't have to, but I'm going to stop this site. I'm going to do the same process again. So hamburger menu, add new site. This time, I'm going to continue here again. We'll call this MyListing Custom. Continue. This time we're going to choose custom, and we just want to choose, by default, it's going to choose the latest version of PHP, but I'm going to go ahead and show you. We want to just do the most recent version. And for web server, we want to go with the defaults, which it would automatically choose for us Nginx. And this is the important part. We're going to go ahead and choose MariaDB here. Now, the thing is, like, let's say MyListing, the developer say, hey, our theme only works with PHP version 8.0, or like years down the road, it's like we're talking about PHP 8.3 versus 8.5 or whatever it might be. So you probably want to pay attention to that too. I always like to try to run the latest version and see if I can notice any issues, because that way you're running the best security and best performance running the higher versions of PHP. If you notice an issue, you can always downgrade to another version. But I always recommend trying to start with the highest version of PHP allowed and just testing everything. Okay. So that's our custom setup there. We're going to click continue. Same as before. We're going to put in our credentials. And click add site, and it's going to spin up just like before. But again, the reason why we're creating custom, I wanted to document this, is if there's ever a chance that you think the local website you're building here, designing, whatever, is going to end up on an online web host somewhere on the internet, then you want to go the custom route. Okay, that's a really important piece. Okay, we'll just wait for that to spin up, and then we'll finish setting this one up. Okay, so just like before, we're going to do trust here. Okay, and we're going to click on WP admin to log in. All right, let's go ahead and log in with those credentials. Okay, so here's a twist. Because before we created that preferred environment, that was assuming that you're probably always going to stay local, always on your local workstation, right? We did the trust on the SSL. So with that, I'm assuming that our files are going to be local, like we're not transmitting data from the website over the internet in any fashion. So having that HTTPS in there isn't as important as it is now, because potentially this could go online at some point. So you really want to put that extra security in place there. So what we want to do here is go to settings and then general. We want to go ahead and drop the HTTPS in here instead of just HTTP. So that's going to give us that fully secure protocol in place right away. Okay, so we're going to click Save Changes down here in the bottom left. See how it says not secure here? So keep that in mind. Oh, it went away now. See how that went away there now? So now we are fully secure. It's SSL. If you're going to do the preferred environment, there's nothing wrong with doing that on the preferred environment too. It's just not as important as it is with the custom environment, where it might go online at some point. Okay, so we're just going to log back in. The other thing too is we're going to be looking at live links here in a second, and you want to have that HTTPS in place when you're using live links. Okay, so there we go. So we've got our custom environment. If this thing ever wanted to go to a web host, we have everything in place. Okay, live links. So these are a quick way to give direct access to your local site. So say we built this site, it's on our local workstation. We want to give access to show our clients how we are progressing in the building of their website. We want to show this to someone on our team to get their feedback. Maybe want to give access to support, all kinds of things, right? So basically it's just taking that local install and bringing it online, so to speak, so people can see it. All right. Yeah, so let's go check that out. So we're going to go to the local dashboard. So we're going to bring up the local app again. And we'll just stick right here in this MyListing custom app install. All right, so then we'll go to Tools. So the Tools tab, we're going to click on Live Links, and we're going to click on Log In to Use. So at this point, they want you to have an account to do this. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll just do. Let me log in here, and I'll bring this back. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I've got that done. I'm going to click Log In here. I'm just going to say that I trust local to do what it's going to do. So I'm going to say always allow. Okay, so there we go. Just that fast, we've enabled live links. Let me make sure I'm not missing any of my steps here. Yeah, so let's see. Let's go here. So what we want to do is we toggle live links on at the top here. It's going to auto-generate this stuff for us. So it gave us a random username, a random password, and then what's really cool down here is they give you like the stuff to share. So you can just copy that to your clipboard right there and drop that in an email if you want. So you can click that right there and drop all of that into an email, or you can just copy these individually and send them over. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this URL here. I'm going to go back to the browser. Drop that in, and you're going to need credentials to unlock it. And those credentials are what's shown right here. Okay, so this isn't the WordPress admin stuff. This is just to unlock the site. Okay, so I'll bring that back over. You'll see that I've got those credentials in there, and we'll click sign in. Okay, so that unlocks the site for us. Obviously, that's not the WordPress admin. So if you knew that, let me go back here to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, so at this point, they can see the site, they can view the progress and all this. And then obviously you as the admin, you can drop that the WordPress dashboard WP admin link in there and actually sign into the site itself at that point. If I knew how to type. Cool, there we go. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so next we're going to look at moving a live website to our local site, okay, with live links, okay? So the following steps will teach you how to use the live links feature to move your live website to your local workstation so you can reference it in the future without incurring the costs that typically come from having a website. So this goes back to that question the client asked me, hey, how can I move my old website offline to not have to pay those hosting costs and to be able to reference my site going forward? So this section here was to address that specific need, okay? All right, so how do we set this up? We will use the live link feature to place our local website online and prepare it to host the live website. So this is kind of like a really neat trick workaround rather than doing crazy migrations and stuff like that. Okay, so local dashboard and tools, live links, click login to use. We've already done that. We've already got that pulled up here. Our live links are already enabled. Copy the provided URL in your browser and append WP admin. So that's what I just showed you. We logged in, right? So this is all done right here with live links. Okay. We've done that. We've unlocked the website as I showed you. We've entered the admin credentials for WordPress, which I've showed you. Now we need to install. So plugins, add new. We're going to install the Migrate Guru plugin. It's a free plugin. And you can use other plugins here. Migrate Guru is what I use to migrate WordPress websites, okay? So I'm going to click install here. And activate. Okay, and then we're just going to click this migration key link. And then we're going to need this here in a second. We're going to need to copy this migration key. Okay, and then from the live website, we're going to just do this from. Let's see. I'm gonna pull up a site here. Let's do. Let's pull this one up. So I'm just going to get logged in here real quick. Okay, so this is an actual live website. Let's pretend like it's just a MyListing sandbox site. Let's pretend we wanted to bring this site offline and down to our local workstation, our local workstation here, okay? So for this, let's go to plugins. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to add that same plugin. Okay, we're going to put in our email here so it knows where to send the notifications. We're going to agree to the terms and we're going to click migrate site. Here we're not going to worry about any of these hosts. We're just going to say other hosts. And we're going to go back here. We're going to copy that migration key in here, okay? Go back to the live website and just drop in that migration key. That's all you have to do and click migrate. I'm not going to do it here, but if you were to click migrate, it's just going to, it doesn't take, it depends on the site size, obviously, and the infrastructure and all those types of things. But typically it's pretty quick. You're going to click migrate and that's going to happen. And it's going to dump right down here into your local site. Once it finishes, you just refresh the screen and off you go. You're done. Like it's live site. Your live site is then running on your local computer just that fast. Okay. And then from that point on, you can poke around a little bit, make sure that everything looks fine. At that point, I recommend trying to download one final backup if you can to your local workstation of your website. So do a full backup of your old website, get that on your computer too, and save that to a safe place. So then you have that to refer to, and you also have this running locally, so you can reference everything that you need to reference. Okay, and you can always pull that downloaded backup into here, which is what I'm going to show you next. Okay, so at that point, cancel the old hosting, save that cost if you want. Really cool stuff. Okay, so like I said, next is we're going to do it with a zip file. Close that down. So these instructions will teach you how to make a downloadable backup of your live website so that you can import it into local. In this example, we'll work with my preferred host, Kinsta. We're going to create a downloadable file. If your host doesn't provide an easy way to do this like Kinsta does, you can use a plugin. Okay, so you just need to get that zip file downloaded somehow of a full backup. That's the key, full backup. Okay, so I'm going to show you this firsthand. This is the sandbox website on Kinsta, and all you need to do is log in, go to backups, download, and create a downloadable backup. I already created one before this video, so that's why it says download. Otherwise, you would click a button that says create backup, okay? And then you, as the instructions say in the guide, you're just going to continue on with the next section of steps, which we're going to get to now. And you're going to let that backup create. Kinsta is going to send you an email with a link. You click the link, you download the backup, which I already have. Yeah, and you're good to go. So let's run through these other steps here. So like I said, continue on with the next section, which is what we're going to do now while that backup completes. And then you'll get a link from Kinsta. So let's pretend that's already happened. We're going to go to our local environment. So I'm going to close this down. We're back in local here. So we're going to go to, let's just stop this one. Again, you don't have to stop it, but you know, it'll save resources just to stop it. Okay, hamburger in the top left again. We're going to choose add new site. This time, instead of creating a new site, we're going to say select an existing zip. So click that. We're going to go to downloads and find out where I downloaded that file. And here is the download of that sandbox site. We're just going to select it. And we're going to give it a name. So we'll call this ML Sandbox. Okay. And we don't need to mess with any of the advanced options. And we're going to click continue. And here again, it just depends. If you think this website is never going to go back online again, and you just want it for historical reasons or whatever, then go ahead and just go with preferred. That said, if you are with, like, let's say you're coming from Kinsta, which we are here, what you're going to want to do is choose custom. Now, I don't know what would happen. You could, wouldn't test it out. You could try just going with the defaults of preferred, but I like to stick with the same technology that was used to host the site before. So I'm going to choose custom here, and I'm going to choose the latest version of PHP, which is what Kinsta would give you anyway. I'm going to stay with Nginx, which is what Kinsta uses. And then for the database, again, I'm going to make sure that I'm choosing MariaDB because that's what Kinsta uses. So up to you what you do here. As always, feel free to ask me questions in the club Facebook group if you're unsure about any of this stuff. But there we go. So we've got our settings. We're going to click import site. We'll let this finish up. So we give it a name. Yeah, so as my instructions say, we click custom, choose the latest version of PHP available. For web server, choose Nginx, and database is MariaDB. As I say in the instructions of the guide, it says I'm assuming that we're coming from Kinsta. So you'll just have to adjust based on your host. Okay, just let this thing wrap up here, and we'll wrap up here ourselves because we're pretty much at the end of our guide. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and wrap up the final paragraph, and then we'll do the steps here in a second. But so like I say in the guide, at this point, you'll want to, once everything is imported here in a second and ready to go, you'll want to quickly poke around your site and make sure everything looks good. You know, just give a quick look around, and assuming that everything looks good and the import went well, I also recommend doing a full backup of your site. That downloaded zip file, which you have, placing that somewhere safe so you have it. Okay. This part right here, I have noticed, does take, you know, a couple minutes. So we will give it that time, and then we will be all done here. So I apologize for the delay. There we go. Okay, so as before, we want to click trust here. Okay. And then we want to go to WP admin. I think the first time you load this up, it takes a little bit of time. There we go. So at this point, you're going to log in with the same credentials that you used for the site that you downloaded. Okay, so now we're in the dashboard, and then like I said, you just want to poke around. So I'm just going to fire up the front end of the website here. Okay, there we go. And you're just gonna, like I said, you're gonna poke around and see how everything looks. And you're like, okay, you know, everything looks good. Yeah, they're good to go. You now have that zip file that you can put in a safe place and you always have reference to. And then you've always got this site running on your local computer. If you need to reference something, when you're not using it, go back to local, stop the site just so you can free up those resources on your machine. But yeah, this is just scratching the surface, everybody. I mean, there's so much stuff that you can do in here. I will let you poke around. This software is owned by WP Engine now. They acquired Flywheel, the Flywheel hosting company. So you're going to see some stuff about WP Engine. You're going to see some stuff about Flywheel. Yeah, but there's add-ons in here. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do. I personally, just as a side note, it has nothing to do with this really, but I personally would not recommend WP Engine or Flywheel. And that's not just because I'm a huge fan of Kinsta. I see the amount of people coming in to Kinsta, into the club's Kinsta plan from those places, saying how it's just gone downhill recently. Especially Flywheel, you know, just has gone downhill since being acquired by WP Engine. And WP Engine is what I would call an acquired taste. Their caching, the way that they do their caching, a lot of people don't like it. It's just not ideal. And if you're in any Facebook groups, any quality Facebook groups that have good discussions about performance and hosting and things like that, you'll see WP Engine is not really a favorite these days. So a lot better options out there. Anyway, so I just wanted to throw in that antidote there, and because in case you see their name floated all throughout this software here, okay? But it is free software. They're providing it for free, so you know you have to give them some credit for that. Otherwise, this video and guide would not be happening. Okay, hope all is well out there. Please click subscribe so you know when my next video comes out, and hope everybody's doing good out there, and see you on the next one. Bye.